Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from Madrid, a small town up north, San Lorenzo del Escorial.
Did you just call Madrid a small town up north?
No, I said I'm in Madrid, but in a small town, San Lorenzo del Escorial.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for joining us. Natalie, you're a member of the group, a very active member of the group. Could you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
Sure. Well, I'm Natalie, as you have said. I'm an English teacher. I have been for like the past 10, 12 years now. I started teaching in Mexico. I'm Mexican, raised in the United States, as for my good accent, I guess. And then I moved to Spain 4 years ago and ended up in Madrid about a year and a half ago. Here in Madrid, I wanted to create my own academy, which with a pandemic, it wasn't possible, but it also opened up my mind to a larger area, which is online classes. And that to me at first, I was kind of skeptical about it, but now I'm looking at it as a very great idea because I'm actually getting international students. Okay, so cool. That to me is,
for example, can you give us just a snapshot of some of your students at the moment? Where are they?
Yes, I have students from Canada, Mexico, and then here in Spain.
Okay, so your Canadian students, I'm assuming, that are they French speaking or?
Actually, it's kind of funny because my student is Mexican, living in Canada, and yeah, he is in Montreal where he has to learn French. So he speaks French, Spanish, and now English. So he learned English in Canada because he was raised there in Vancouver, but his parents don't want him to forget it. So that's why they have contacted me to
fantastic.
Keep him up to it.
I know there's a lot of people in the group potentially looking for new students. Could you just give us a couple of tips? How are you finding students?
It's not
a student in Canada.
Not an easy task. Okay, it's not an easy task. I will say that straight up because even now I feel like I'm still struggling with it, but I'm learning as I go. But here in Spain specifically, how I got my first students was through the website Tus Clases Particulares. So I made sure I had it updated. I made sure that my ex-students, gave me feedback through there. So everybody else who saw my my account could see that, I'm a qualified teacher, that I do give good results. And that's how I got my first students. And then from there, I started talking to the people I know, like my family, my friends, acquaintances, and, just let them know what I'm doing, and like, hey, help me out. People are always willing to help. They always want to feel like they're doing something good. So, always trust that.
Great. So basically taking lots of action, not being afraid to say, I'm here, this is what I do, and putting it out there. One of the key little phrases that I keep reminding myself on my journey is about taking imperfect action. Not waiting till the website's amazing or. Is that me?
Well, as you were saying about being afraid, I think fear is an emotion that we have to embrace, but we also have to push against it. We have to break through it. This fear, I'm always carrying with it. Why? Because we're going into the unknown. So it's evidently that you cannot get away from it. But talking to people that are doing the same thing that you are, who are also trying to grow, who are also trying to make their job easier or better, it gives you that motivation, that like, okay, yes, I'm afraid. It's scary. I don't know what's going to happen, but if she can do it, why can't I? You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's very powerful. Action conquers fear. The fear will always be there because that little 7 or 8 year old little boy or girl inside who, I don't know, cried at a birthday party or something so long ago that we is buried inside us is still trying to keep us safe and still trying to protect us. So that fear will always be there, as you say, but how do you relate? It's how we relate to that fear. So you're very keen on growth mindset, Natalie. We're talking about growth mindset today. I'm just going to speak to the people who are watching. Could you guys? So we're talking about growth mindset. What does that mean to you, and in what ways are you growing right now? Natalie, can you tell us where your interest in growth mindset came from, what it means to you?
I think my interest to growth mindset came from my insecurities as a young child. I didn't have the parents that told me, hey, you're doing great, or hey, you should do this because this is what you're good at. No, I had parents, very Latin parents, that are very strict. Either you are smart or you're dumb, or you're not worth it. So I was put in a category to where I wasn't enough. Like you just do whatever you can and whatever. Like, I wasn't given that opportunity to see myself, like my capabilities. So as I got older and I had my own children, I started realizing what I was capable of, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? Like, why didn't I have this when I was younger? So then now I started applying it to my children.
So sorry, how did you realize what was changing?
I became a mother, and I saw myself in my daughters. And like, they're both so different because I have my intellectual daughter and I have my other daughter who was like me when I was younger, who was so dispersed, so genuine, so like naive, very naive. And so I had to put a balance. Like, okay, I have one daughter who automatically does things because she just has this natural urge to do it, to learn, to to apply herself. But on the other hand, I have my other daughter who's like, that's too hard, I'm not gonna do it, So it's like, how can I put the balance in that, and how can I apply it to myself? Because I have to be the one to model it, not for them to follow it. So as I started teaching, well, I already had grasped all of that. It was just an idea then. It wasn't really like something I did consciously until I started teaching. And when I started teaching, I had a great director at a school in Mexico, which I'm very grateful for him, because I didn't know he was a director. He was teaching us. He was giving us a teaching course. And one day he just told me, "You're so smart." That blew my mind. Yeah. Never had anybody told me that I was smart,
So you were, what were you studying? You were studying English with him as the...
No, I was studying to be a teacher.
Right. Okay.
I was studying to be a teacher. So that like blew my mind. And then from then on, I was like, this is what we need. Why don't we have this when we are children? Like, we're always categorized as just discriminated because you're not good enough, or you move too much, or you do too much of this. And we forget about all the qualities that we do have.
Yeah.
So then when I started... Go ahead.
So why did that comment have such a big impact on you personally?
Because nobody had ever believed in me. That's why. And I was such a rebel girl. So that's what I was told, no? Yeah. I was the black sheep, as you can call it, as we call it. And for somebody, and not just anybody, it was the director of a school, a prestigious school at that, on top of that. And not only did he tell me I was smart, but not even halfway through the course, he invited me to join his team. So that, to me, I was like, wow, words are so powerful, So then at that moment, I did start apart from teaching, I started studying a lot of neurolinguistics, neuroscience, and a lot of psychology for myself.
Yeah.
Like at first I didn't know I was going to apply to my students until afterwards, where I saw the benefits of it, and then I started reading about it and how to apply it in the school, with the students. And when you start realizing that most of the students that come in are so insecure, oh, that's so embarrassing, I don't want to talk. So then it's like, why not? We do other stupid things. Why can't you just talk?
Yeah.
And that's where
this is just for anybody who's just joining us. I've got a Facebook user saying, "Morning. Please give us permission to use your name so we can reply to your comments in person." I'm Richard. I'm here with Natalie, and Natalie's telling us some inspiring background stories about how she was inspired by a previous director of studies, her teacher, trainer, who for the first time really in her life, just with a single comment, "You're so smart," flicked a switch basically, didn't he, for you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what are the implications? What are the implications now on what you do in class that have come as a result of that experience? That, wow, someone believes in me and stood it on. I'm like, wow, I can do great things.
Well, I don't know if anybody who is listening, or if you know the power of words. I don't know, like how that actually activates our neurons. It actually creates a chemical reaction to our brain. So the more you speak well to somebody, the more you activate those chemicals, and the more we feel that serotonin, which is one of the chemicals that's created. So you feel pleased, you feel great. You're like, oh my God, I am great.
Yeah.
So then I started applying that to my kids, instead of telling them, oh, you're not good enough, or you know what, because most of them are like, I can't do this. So it's like now changing the mindset. This is where I create the change of the mindset. And there's a lot on the internet on it now, where they show you what a fixed mindset is versus a growth mindset. So the fixed mindset, just to give you an idea for those of you who don't know or haven't looked at it, a fixed mindset is somebody who's always negative on their behalf, or on what they do. I can't do this. This is impossible. I'm horrible. It's always so negative. Their inside is square. Okay. Versus somebody with a growth mindset, instead of saying I can't do this, they would change it into I can't do this yet. Or this is not my best job, but I know if I keep working on it, it's gonna result better. So having that perseverance, having that drive, and also teaching children how to use that. In my classroom, with the first classes, I always show them the fixed versus the growth mindset, and I applied it into English. Give me all the Spanish words that you tell yourself that makes you inferior. Okay, how do we do those words in English? This, okay, how can we transfer that to a growth mindset? Because we all have the capability to do things.
Fantastic. So real simple things, but these come from very lots of backup and support in terms of psychology and all these kinds of things, reframing. I'm just going to flash up a comment here from Phoebe, and the face, lovely face. There's Phoebe. We have such a responsibility as teachers to take what you're saying and apply it to our students, not to pigeonhole any of them, to believe in them, to tell them what's great about them, to realize that they are all special in their own way. Yeah, I mean, I'm also a father. I have an 8-year-old son, and my son Joseph, along with some pretty big life events that I went through, really reignited this idea in me that yes, we are all so profoundly special in our own unique ways, and we can never stop. You should never pigeonhole someone, and you really, everybody has the potential, so much more potential than we give ourselves credit for. And I'm going to ask you now, Natalie, what I think is probably a really key question about growth mindset. So why is it that we often, like in your case, that we often have to wait for somebody else to say that they believe in us before we believe in ourselves?
Because we are people, and as people, we need approval from everybody. That's how we were raised. Those are the, we're raised even as since we are little. We're always looking for our parents' appraisal. Oh, how did I do this? And most of the time, as parents, we are very hard on our kids. So instead of acknowledging, we're like, yeah, whatever. So then you grow up with that insecurity because, oh, my parent didn't like me. So subconsciously, okay, this is not conscious, this is subconsciously. And so as we grow older, we are always looking for everybody else's approval because we didn't have our parents' approval.
Yeah. Okay. So it's always, yeah, look at this mom, look at this dad, and maybe they're working or
exactly,
or it's an annoyance, yeah, I mean, it does have its challenges.
Yes. Now with all of the science that we have that backs everything up now that it's so advanced, we realize as parents that we can be conscious on how we teach our kids and how we can teach them this. And not only about growth mindset, we can also teach them emotional management, which is so important as well, because we don't need somebody's approval. We just need to know our abilities, so we can actually make ourselves bigger on our own.
Exactly. I think there's a common denominator with people, and in this field, obviously we're talking, and I'm talking with a lot of teachers. We seem to undervalue ourselves, and we just have a habit of keeping ourselves small. And it is very difficult sometimes when we are conditioned that way to wake up and break the cycle. But you're telling us it's possible.
It's something you have to work for. Okay, it's not something that happens from night to day, but it's definitely something that we can work for, and that have it in our hands to grasp and to look at the scientific studies about it and how we can apply it into our homes, into our lives, into our children.
Yeah. So yeah. I know, Natalie, that you have to leave in a few minutes, and we thank you so much for your time. Could you, are there any one or two sort of practical things that we can do as teaching professionals that will get us onto this growth, this path?
Definitely. What are you doing for yourself? This is for everybody. What are you doing for you? We are teachers, so obviously we are helping students, right? And we are the light for them. We have to teach them where to go. But how well are you? Are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your physical, of your mind? What are you doing? How are you growing yourself? Like, how are you feeding yourself? In order for us to be well for everybody and to express, to be that great mirror, we have to be that mirror first.
Say a little bit more about that mirror. What's that?
Well, we are all mirrors of each other. So if you look around you, who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? We are, and it's been studied, we are about 60 to 70% of the people around us, because we grasp their personalities. So what personality do you want to create? Do you want to be the one that is influenced, or do you want to be the one that influences? And in order to do that, we have to clean ourselves. And how are you doing that? You know, we have to act on our own. Like, you know, if you're, I hear a lot of people that always complain, no? I can't do this, I can't do that, da, 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 or I am too fat. I can't, but what are you doing? Are you taking care of your eating habit? I'm not saying get on a strict diet. It's just saying, like, our body needs to be taken care of, just like a vehicle, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a vehicle, you're not gonna leave it without oil, because then it'll get destroyed. Our body is the same. We want to think positive, feed yourself positive things.
Yeah, very true. And I think there's such a temptation and a danger for teachers, where we are a passionate species, and it is a passionate a profession of giving and taking care. It's like, you know, my dad was a teacher, my mum and my sister are nurses, and I come from that kind of background of giving. But I tell you one thing, 9 years ago, I hit a brick wall, and I burnt out as a teacher, and I suffered, I don't mind sharing this at all, I suffered a massive panic attack. I was in Valencia at a friend's house, and everything just came crashing down around me. And after many years of self-development and realizing that I hadn't been taking care of number one, not in that selfish way, but in that very selfless way of, if I'm not right, if I'm not well, if I'm not strong, I can't give anything to anybody. And yeah, that panic attack and that anxiety attack was the turning point, really. And yeah, teachers, you've got to protect yourselves. Yes. And you've got to get your...
Don't wait for that breaking point, because it's not fun, because I went through that too. So it's not fun. We have everything online. And actually, if you are a teacher for kids, I definitely recommend the Big Life Challenge journal, which is a website. They have a lot of growth mindset activities, things that you can apply by seasons, day by day. It's a great website. It's clear, because I don't have that much time to be creating things. And this person has a website with everything ready for you. You have to invest in it, but I have bought a lot of her things. They're not expensive, and they're worth having, because you just share it with your students.
A Big Life journal. Okay, we'll put it in the group later. Natalie, I know you have a class.
Yes, I have to go. And thank you very much, everybody, for your comments. I will read through it later, and I will respond, because I see a lot of, like, it's great. I love this community. Thank you so much, Richard, for having me on here.
Pleasure. Thank you, Natalie, for your time, and keep growing.
Yeah, likewise. And for everybody too. Bye.
Okay. Bye. So, inspiring stuff. We're really lucky in this community to have such inspiring people. And yeah, not to labor the point, but we all have a voice. We all are inspiring and unique and special in our own way. And I do feel that EFL, I do feel that we have a platform where we can really make a difference. Yes, we'll use English as a vehicle, but I think it's also, there's also an opportunity, as Natalie has said, for us to really shine and to be beacons for our students, where we can inspire them. You know that teacher when you were at school that just didn't inspire you? In my case, it was Mr. Ferneyhoff, my maths teacher. He just didn't have the time of day for the kids that didn't get it. And I was a kid that didn't get it. Why was I a kid that didn't get it? Because I actually like painting. I like music. I like messing around. Okay. And that was me, and that is me, and that's still me to this day, and probably why I'm doing this kind of this show on a Monday morning, because I like messing around and I like people. What kind of teacher are you going to be? Are you going to be more yourself in class, and what difference and what impact is that going to have on your students? Just think about Natalie's story of how one comment from her teacher completely changed her adult life, and just think of the impact that Natalie is going to have going forward. Just to wrap up the show, thanks very much for joining us. If you feel you're not fulfilling your potential and you're kind of scratching the surface of what you're capable of as a teacher, then I've created a bunch of quality teacher training packs. They're available on englishforpositivechange.com, and it's all about this idea of going from what I call teaching English for no apparent reason to going into the class, being the best teacher that you can be, and encouraging and empowering your students to thrive. There's a load of lesson plans on there based around growth mindset, setting goals, understanding motivation, but it's also about a new way of teaching and being for you, one which is more you, and that allows your students to be more them.